Hello. Okay, welcome to How to Discover the Secrets of Effortless Wealth in Real Estate Using AI with Shahar, which is me, and Nashla. She will be here in a second. We are just getting everything ready. So first of all, let me introduce myself and tell you what we are going to be talking about. So I'm Shahar, and Nashla is my daughter. We work together. We have been working together actually for a very long time. Basically with a production company that does online courses. This in the last 9 to 10 years, I think, with that one. But we used to do live streaming before as well. And we started investing in real estate about 5 years ago. And just in case we drop out of TikTok for whatever reason, we are also live on YouTube. So it's my first time on TikTok here, so I'm trying to figure out how these things work. But anyway, we started investing in real estate about almost 6 years ago. We basically do tax deed auctions and lists. And we noticed one thing, that the buying part of a cheap property is not that complicated. There are many ways of doing that. We are not going to go deep into them because that's not the topic for this webinar, but I will tell you about some of them that you have out there that you can buy cheap land. And by cheap, I mean you can buy land for $300 every single day. We actually, we were last week in Michigan, we went to put some signs on the properties. We bought 12 properties and the average was $500. There were some that were 300, there were some that were more. And you know, we will be selling those properties at 5, 7, some a lot more than that. There's one there that I was also just putting the prices, that the price market is at least 18,000. So there's a lot of profit into that. It's not the only way. I'll mention more later because I'm still introducing ourselves. But we are going to focus. So you have one. Now what do you do? Because the challenge is usually the selling part. So this is Nashla.
Hello.
Come on over here. So good. And Nashla, so we were talking about, was just introducing ourselves, right? So do you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Nash. My name is Nashla. I go by Nash. This is Shahar, my mother, but also my business partner. We've been working together for many years.
Yep.
And we have a thing for business and technology, and yeah.
We did consulting for 12 years as well, talking about neuromarketing. That is how the brain, how you talk to the brain, the limbic system, so it takes action. It's one of the most reliable marketing strategies because you're not trying different things, you're always talking to that limbic system. But that's not the topic here. The topic here is, okay, so how do you create and scale a real estate business, okay? Let me tell you first what we are going to be covering here, so you know what we will be talking about. What happens when you buy the property, the big mistakes that we make, 2 things to focus. We don't want to overwhelm you because it can be overwhelming. The real estate market is huge and there are many opportunities there. And one of the mistakes that people do is try to focus on several at the same time. So we are going to tell you what to focus on is specifically to scale the business. And of course, at the end, I will do Q&A, and then we'll figure a way to do the Q&A with TikTok as well. Well, so let's say you buy a property. I already mentioned that Nashla and I, we usually do that by tax deed auctions or lists because there are really thousands and thousands of properties out there. I just mentioned that I was in Michigan last week, and about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was in Arkansas for the same thing, where with my partner, we got about 15 lots. Nashla and I, we focus in land basically. Like, we like land. We think there are lots of headaches that you don't have to have. And here is, if you're really a beginner, just to, you know, put a scene here. Why do I like land? First of all, because I didn't start with a lot of money, and I had to think, if I buy a house, because on auctions, many times you cannot go inside and see how it is, I might have to flip it. I might have to do something in order to be able to sell. Do I have the cash for that? And at that point, I didn't have, so I decided to stay away from that for now. Now I have investors. I don't work alone. We don't work alone. We have 3 or 4 investors that constantly invest with us, and we could go and buy houses as well. And if a good deal happens, we do that. But we really like land. Nothing happens with land. You know, if the place floods, next day is fine. If it freezes, it's okay. You don't have to cut the grass. So you don't have the headaches that you usually do. The downside about that is that with land, when you sell, you don't see a large volume of money, right? You don't, because you may be buying at 300, selling at 3,000, maybe 10,000, but that's about it, right? So you don't see that amount of money coming in like you see in a house, because you might be able to buy a house for 30,000, 50,000 and sell for 200,000. So you see the volume of money coming in when you sell a house. On the other side, when you're selling land, your profit margin is higher. You make more money when you think about the profit margin. With the house, because you most all the time will have expenses, at least to do landscaping and things like that, you are going to see less volume, less profit margin, but the volume that you see coming in is bigger. So a lot of people think that it's super sexy to go after houses. I think there are a lot of headaches. I'm not against it, but that's not what I go on a day-to-day. I go for land. But I said, Nashla, that they can buy like we do with tax deeds and things like that. But there are other ways to buy cheap land, right?
Oh, yes.
In today's market, you have several ways, actually. For example, if you know what liens are, some people have liens because they have a debt, either with the bank, a loan that they made, sometimes with the government. You can go and buy those liens from them and keep either the land or the house out of that. That's one way. Land flipping is very popular. You have a ton of gurus teaching that, where you don't even put your money, right? You make a deal with the person selling, then you make a deal with the person that wants to buy, or you buy for, seller financing, and then you sell and cover that. There's wholesaling. There are many, many ways for you to buy cheap land. If you never heard about that, do some research. I really like the strategy I use because I can get land every single day without having to do a lot of work. But we also sometimes send letters. We decide in which neighborhood we want to work, see what's vacant land in that neighborhood, and we go and send letters to the owners, make an offer. Sometimes we get that way. You don't have to stick to one strategy, but you do need to focus on one of them, right? Because if you don't focus, then you will spread yourself too thin and won't be able really to keep the flow. Now, what happens usually on the downside? Let's talk about the downside. Cup half full, half empty. Let's talk about the half empty part. When you have some properties, and you don't have to have hundreds of them, maybe 6, 7 already, or even less. What happens? You get exhausted by working long hours. Oh, you thought you were just going to buy and sell and just enjoy life, but managing sometimes the properties can be an issue. So you need a way to generate income without the constant grind, right? So you need to figure, okay, I have these properties, what can I do with them to start generating money without giving me a lot of work? You struggle to scale your income and free up your time, and that's so common with entrepreneurs, right? If there is one thing that we do all the time, we always have something else to do. But that starts hurting you, your health, your family. And I know of many cases where the marriage was getting rocky exactly because of that. It's not because you're going to see your land, because you really don't have to travel. When we buy several lots, like 10, 12, 15, like we just did, I like to go and check the place, right? And check if there's possibilities for next year or the next auction to get more, if it's going to be easier or not to sell. So I do that sometimes. But most of the time I buy and sell from this studio, really, right? I have another computer over there, and that's how we do business. And you use the phone a lot, right?
Yep.
You are bogged down by administrative tasks, right? You do have to organize yourself somehow. And if you're doing that all the time, you're struggling to scale the business. And then comes the thing about having VAs and a team. I like that. But I don't like dealing with people, Nashla. So what do we do then?
Well, you got to automate the process as much as you can, but the problem is, it's like you said, Shahar. You go out and you find the properties, and it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun to find the
Yes.
right properties and the good deals, and you get them. But then in the back end, there are things that need to happen. You
Hmm.
need to you need to put that property, say, in a spreadsheet somewhere, so you can so you can know what you're selling. You need to have the descriptions for the property, sizes,
Yep.
all the data for the property, so when people can sell it. But on in the back end, you need to have a way to just
Do that in a simple way,
do
right?
that in a simple way, because otherwise, like you said, you're going to be bogged down with the administrative tasks.
Yes.
And then from there, you can then focus on, okay, let's sell.
Yeah. So you see, we have, I don't know the exact number, but we have 100 or so properties right now, right? We do have a person to do the research, and I have a graphics guy that helps us with social media, because visibility is also a thing. But then everything else is automated, so it doesn't give us a lot of headaches in that part. And remember, I know you have a ton of questions, because but how do you talk to people and stuff? We will answer all your questions by the end, okay? Um, when you start becoming overwhelming, what do? You usually quit, and that is the biggest mistake, because there is nothing better for you to invest your money than in real estate. If you look at how the big fortunes were made, you are going to see that they were all related to real estate. So, you can pick your favorite strategy with real estate. You are able to make money if you don't quit. So you have to have that in mind. What you need is a way to organize that doesn't consume all your day. Um, and then, of course, we start outsourcing. And depending on who you follow, they will tell you, have 5 VAs, have 10 VAs, have 20 VAs. Easy, because you can outsource to other countries and not pay a lot of money to that. But managing those people is not fun. And of course, because you're usually not paying high for them, you will turn them quite often. And what does that mean? You have to train them again,
Yes.
right? You have to.
Which, even though it's just your time, it ends up being extremely costly, because the time that you have to take again to teach someone again how to do your processes, you could be, you could be making new deals, you could be buying new properties, you could be selling new properties, but no, here we are again, teaching them how to do administrative stuff, or
Yeah.
teaching them how to research. And so it is costly, it is very costly if you have to turn the people
If you're
that
turning
work.
people constantly, right?
Exactly.
But it doesn't mean that you don't have to do that, and you don't have to automate, because
It will happen. It's part of the process, right? Every once in
you
a
are
while
very
people
good at that, right? You create very short videos training them. So when you have to replace somebody, they go into the area, they watch the videos, and you don't have to do yourself the training. You always keep thinking, what can I do that I don't have to be there doing in order to
So-
be able to scale the business?
Essentially, from moment one, keep this in mind. From moment one, if you're going to teach someone how to do something, record it. And this way you start building a library of your training.
Mhm.
Because then tomorrow, someone else comes along, and you can give them the tools, the videos that they can watch and rewatch, and you don't have to stop your
What are you
day,
doing?
your process to teach them. Of course, you will have to review with them later, answer any questions, but hey, 70% of the job is done already with them
Exactly.
watching your material. So always record, always save what you're doing.
And as the entrepreneur, you want to spend your time thinking about how you're going to grow. How am I going to acquire more properties? What am I going to do with the ones that didn't sell? Because that will happen, especially if you have a large volume. There are many fun things, and we can talk a little bit about that at the end, that you can also make money. Simple thing. Let's say you have a lot that doesn't sell for whatever reason, right? Or you can build on that, or whatever. Look, one thing you can do. You can install a billboard there, and they pay, on the low end, $800 a month for you. If I have 5 of that, I'm good,
Not bad.
right? So this is one way. There are tons of them. So you can really think about, how do I scale? How do I make more money with what I have? That would be how entrepreneurs should be spending the time, strategizing, saying, okay, what can be done here to grow, and not doing the things. And we tend to do the things, right? You already heard about work on your business, not in your business. That is true. Because if I spend the whole day doing stuff, I won't be able to really grow the business. So, and of course, if you're wasting your time doing this kind of stuff and training people all the time, you are going to miss out on deals because there's only so much you can do in a day. And you're going to have your communication with prospects and clients in a bad way. And you're going to have disorganized follow-up systems. If you ask me, and I told you at the beginning, we gave consulting, I think, during 12 or so years, if not more. And in my original country, Brazil, I was also a consultant with a very, very institution there called Sebrae. And I always saw the same thing happen. The entrepreneur is very good in implementing it. I have the idea, I go and implement, and I make it work. Very good at that. The follow-up, the things that have to be done on a constant basis, we fail, right? Because we don't like that. We like the challenge. We like to get the thing going and say, I made that baby, right? That's what you like to do. So you don't like to be doing accounting. You don't like to be doing all the other stuff, including follow-up. And guess what? Follow-up is crucial if you want to scale. I talk to a former partner of mine all the time about that. And you're going to say, it's because you're old that you're saying that. No, it's not because I'm old, it's because it is true. I rather have 100 emails that I can communicate with on a constant basis than have 1,000 followers or even 10,000 followers. Because your list, your prospects, and your clients are the ones that are really paying your bills at the end of the month. It's not how visible you are out there. You might have 1 million followers. It doesn't mean that you're going to make the money at the end of the month, right? So I understand most of us don't use emails. I don't use emails like I used to, but it's still a golden mine. And it's easy to get the email from a prospect, right? How do you do it when you're talking? Somebody call, and they usually call like this. Let's suppose it's Pine Bluff, Arkansas, right? They call, ma'am, how much are they asking for that land? And you ask, which land? And because I have more than one lot. And they say, oh, that one that is close. Do you know the high school that is right there? Isn't that more or less like it happens?
Yes.
And?
Yeah, you really end up learning a lot about the regions. But yeah, so then once you settle on which property it is that they're interested in.
They usually don't have the address or anything.
I'll typically answer any questions that they have right then and there, but my intention as quickly as possible is to get their email. That's always, no matter if it's online or over the phone, it's get their contact information. That's always your objective. So if they call you, you already have their phone, which is it's a plus. But if they call you, you don't have their email. And so then I try to get their email, and I'll say something like, hey, I'd love to send you the information, all the information I have on the property, documents, photos, etc. Do you have an email where I can send it to? And usually they're open to that. And so then you get their email, and you're then able to
You already have the phone because they're talking to you.
You have their phone. You ask for their name. Like, hey, sorry, I didn't catch your name. They'll give you your name, their name, and then you now send them that email with all of the property info.
And they will check the email.
And they will check the email because you told them that you sent it. But most importantly, it's done in a way that's automatic. So pretty automatic. So in other words, now that person is in your system, and now you're able to do what Shahar was talking about earlier, the follow-up. Mm-hmm. So, okay, maybe you can cut a deal right then and there on the phone. It doesn't happen very often with me, at least. I don't usually sell on the first go.
Yeah.
I have to communicate with the person more than once. Mm-hmm. And then you're able to do that because now you have their name, email, and phone.
And what usually happens in this scenario with most people, so we talk to one, and the guy said, oh, I have to talk to my wife or my partner or my parent, and I'll call you tomorrow. And you may even follow up once, call them back, but usually you let it like just that. even worse, if you put ads on Facebook Marketplace, you're going to get a lot of, is it available, is it available, is it available, is it available, all day long, right? And most of them, they're browsing and they're not really interested, but there might be one or two that are, and you answer a question or two, and that's also the end of that, right? And you were leaving money on the table here.
Yeah, well, even with the ones on Facebook Marketplace, like you said, is it available, is it available, is it available?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, you get a ton of those, and just like you said, maybe one or two out of 10 or 50
Mm-hmm.
are actual prospects, but you don't know which ones. So you actually need to respond. You need to respond. And so then you're wasting a lot of time saying the same things over and over and over again to the same people. So you have to think, okay, how can I do this in a way that I'm not wasting my time, but I'm making sure that I am getting in touch and sending everyone what they need. And the other thing to keep in mind is these people today, they're looking for property, say, right?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they don't like what you have to offer right now. Maybe after your conversation, you've determined that they're not really a hot lead. But it doesn't mean that they won't be for your next property or 30 days from now.
Or they can become affiliates because they know you have multiple properties. How many times have we sold more than once to the same person, or to a friend, or to the son, or to the cousin? Several times, right? Because we never stop. Actually, we have a saying here: we only stop communication if they die or if they unsubscribe. Other than that, we are always communicating, and you have no idea how powerful that is. Because somebody might not have the money, might not be ready to buy right now, but they will be at some point, or they will know somebody that would also be interested. The other day, so there is this place in Arkansas called Sharp County, and we bought several lots there. It's a low-income place, which we don't care because we like those places. And there is this one lot that I asked somebody to go there and put a sign and everything, and he called me a few days later and said, you know, I put the sign about 2 or 3 trees after your land because I was really scared about the neighbor. He was really angry, right? Well, you fast forward several months, for whatever reason, I was in Arkansas. I decided to go there and visit. And the moment I step out, he comes with a rifle. And I really thought, I said, Nash, stay in the car. And I thought, that's it. That's the last day, right? But we start talking, and he said, I'm not going to let anybody put a mobile home here. If they come with a mobile home, I'll destroy the home, and all those things. But we talked and talked, and you know, we made a little connection. He was not interested in acquiring the lot, and I told him, oh, you acquire the lot, your property goes up in value. You can easily say it goes up about 20% in value just because you added. You can use more, stuff like this. And he, no, I don't want. And I usually lead with, make me an offer. They ask me the price, and I always go, make me an offer, especially when I'm there, right? No way. But I gave him a card. And I said, well, if you ever change your mind, la la la. At that point, we didn't have a structured follow-up like we have today, right? But fast forward many months, I think, do you know how many? More than a year, right?
Yeah, more than
Because that land, it wasn't selling because he was not a nice neighbor. Somebody calls, and we start talking to the person. Well, the neighbor liked that guy and gave him the card, and we sold the property, right? So, you know, always open the doors for communication. Yes, business cards still work because not everybody, and actually most of the people that buy from us are not hooked to a cell phone like we tend to be today, right? Many of them, they don't have emails too. So you get all means of communication going, and keep it going, because that is what's going to make your business grow really fast. Now, Nash, one thing we need to tell them is that the first thing you do, because they're already with ideas, I can buy land like this, and I can sell like this, and blah, 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 is to tell them that you need to create a plan. You know, it doesn't matter if it's a piece of paper, a mind map, whatever you want, but where do you want to go? Because it's very hard to get there if you don't know where you're going. So you need a number of how many properties you want to acquire, if it's going to be houses or land, if you're going to sell everything cash, or do you want to do seller financing? I'm a big advocate of seller finance. How much money do you want to make at the end of 6 months and 12 months? You do need to have that, not thinking about that, have that in a visual way. So use whatever visual you like, writing, computer, Procreate, whatever. Create a visual of that plan. It can be simple. You don't have to put the, how am I going to do that? How? Because that's how the brain stops you every single time. You have the idea, and before you complete the idea, you're already asking, but how am I going to do this? Where do I get? I don't have money for this. And, you know, we do that constantly. So you have to take that out, create a picture of that plan, because you want to know where and how in this business you can create passive income with a small structure. I'm not telling you to become a real estate magnate in the sense of having offices full of people. I'm assuming, it is an assumption, that you want to do this from your home, enjoying your kids, enjoying life, being able to travel, and you don't want to be hooked to a place, because that can be a shackle, right? So we don't do it. So let's talk about the two things I said that we needed to focus. First of all, the retirement. And then they are saying, yeah, she's old, she's thinking about retiring. No, that's not it. People my age are thinking about retiring. People National's age are thinking, how do I retire early? So I do not have to work 65 years of my life nonstop to enjoy the next 5. We don't want that. The average American lives up to 85 or 90, if I'm not wrong. But you know that where you can be hiking and snorkeling and doing all those things, it's not going to be 80 some. There are exceptions. But you want to enjoy life. So even if you're 30 or 40 right now, you're thinking, how do I retire early so I don't have to work 9 to 5? I don't have to grind all day even with my own business, right? So here's a very simple formula if you think. You buy 20 lots. Can you buy 20 lots?
Yes.
All day long, right? And can you buy them for little money, like $300 or less?
Yes.
Yes, every day as well. So you buy 20 of them. When you buy those lots, you go look at the assessed value. They are small, right? They are valued at 300, 400. But you know you can ask at least 3 times that, the assessed value, at least. Of course, you're going to do the research on places like Zillow and other places to see more or less what's the market value. And you might be surprised. The lots that you buy for $300 might be worth $18,000, $20,000. It happens. Of course, you also need to see the region. You know, if people in that area, do they have money? Because if they don't have money, they will not ever buy that at 18,000, but they might buy at 7 and 8. You pay 300. How many times are you making your money back? The other thing for you to sell fast is that I, for example, don't tend to put my lots on market price. I always go lower because I want to turn them fast. If there is a difference between land and houses, is that houses, they sell faster than land. So for me to sell land as fast as I would a house, I put that below market price. It's a simple thing. But think that you have 20 lots and you sell those 20, seller financing. What is that, Nash?
Well, that's when you...
I need to drink water.
You make a deal. So let's just say you sold a lot for $5,000. But they don't, they want to give you a down payment. So you take a down payment, you decide what that'll be, talk with your prospect and buyer. Maybe it's $500, maybe it's $1,000. Let's just say, to keep it simple, they gave you $1,000 down. Now you finance the rest, the remaining balance, the $4,000 that's remaining on that. And it's really a conversation with your buyer. So a lot of times I ask them every time, what is a comfortable monthly payment amount for you? And so sometimes, you know, I don't want to, the reason I ask them is that, and especially with the down payment, the reason I ask them is that I don't want to lowball myself, because I might have a notion, a preconceived notion of what it is that they can pay, but really they can pay more, maybe, and I want to take more if I can. And so that's why I always ask them how much they could do for a down payment, and I let them know, if it doesn't work for me, I'll make a counter offer, but tell me how much. And so let's just say they said 1,000, now you got to finance the 4,000. Okay, what's a comfortable amount for you for a monthly payment? How much are you comfortable with? We don't want this to be an extraneous situation, because you want them to pay until the end. And so they'll tell you, they might say $500 a month, or sometimes they say $250 a month.
So let's go with 500.
Let's go with
so
500.
20 lots times 500 a month is how much? $10,000.
Oh, you did the math.
Most people in the U.S., need about $5,000 a month to do well, to buy whatever they need and
So
have
20
a comfort.
lots at $500 a month. That's
20
10K.
lots at 500, yeah. But how
20
long
lots,
do you
that's
think
not
that
much.
could take?
To sell 20 lots?
Yeah. I would say you in your plan, you have to see your personality. There
Yeah.
are personalities that they like to go slow because they want, they want to foresee everything that is going to happen, which is funny because they won't be able to, but they like to do that. If you're that type, you might give yourself a year and a half. If you're the type that I say, I'm going to buy one lot and see if it sells, that's a dead end because it's not a good thing. That lot specifically might be a bad one, might be in a region that people are not willing to buy. So, but if you have two or three and you say, let's see if it goes, you can wait that. So make yourself a year and a half for you to have 20 lots paying you $500 every single month, which equals $10,000. If you're a go-getter, let's get it done. Well, maybe 6 months, 8 months. I'm not saying you can retire in those months because it depends on your behavior, your attitude towards experimenting new things. Risks, you don't have any. You know why? Because you're seller financing your own lot, which is totally legal. And if they don't pay, you get the lot back. You have just to you have to check the state, but usually you send them a letter, and that's about it. We have one lot that we had to take it back twice already, right?
Yeah, there's just, of all the lots that we've sold, there's one on Elmo Street in Mississippi. I don't know if that thing is cursed or what, but we've had it come back a couple times.
Yes.
But it's okay. You know what? Honestly, I'm not complaining because both cases they paid me a down payment. Usually we try to make the down payment cover the initial what we put. We try to make it so that the down payment already paid for the lot itself. Mm-hmm. So there's that. We did it twice, and then they had a few monthly payments that they paid. Well, when they default, they lose. You don't have to give them the money back. And so really, I'm making more money having to put that lot back on the market than actually selling it just the one time.
That lot has paid itself several times now.
A couple times.
Right? But it happens. Of course, when it's a case that they are having a hard time paying, because it happens too. I sell lots in very poor neighborhoods across the U.S. Many times we tell them, do you want to stop for 2 months or do you want to stop for 3 months to give you a breathing space and then you go from there?
Yeah, you just need to establish from the get-go. Make sure the communication is clear. Tell them that. Hey, talk to me. If something comes up, talk to me. And so it happens every once in a while. We had someone recently, she asked, can I pause my payment for a couple months because my car broke down, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather say yes, keep this person happy and make sure that she pays until the end, and maybe skip a month, okay? But rather than be totally like not cool with them and then lose that person entirely.
Yeah, and they can still have the lot, so we put the payments to the end. You need to be thinking always with a win-win mindset. Yes, you want to make money with this and you want to retire early, but you also want people to be happy in the process. I have a saying, and we have a saying, that we say we avoid burning bridges. Right? If you don't have to burn a bridge with a person, you just don't. Just because it's going, allow to do business without emotions taking the lead. It's impossible to do business without emotions because we are human beings. But we can, even when we get angry at somebody, because some people leave you angry, you can take a step back, wait a day or two, and then come back to the situation, because there might be another way than burning a bridge. And why are you letting them lose the lot that you sold them? Work with them a little bit. It's a business, and with business always comes some challenges that you have to deal with. That's why I said you have to check your personality to determine how long from now you're going to retire, because you might be the type that will struggle with your own personality in the process, and we will need more time into that, okay? But that's just a sneak peek. Go ahead.
20 lots, sell them for $500 a month.
Uh-huh. Good to go.
To 20 people.
Well, there is one
20
thing.
lots.
You're going to sell those lots 6 months, 12 months, 24 months usually. Lots are not very expensive. If it was a house, could be a lot more than that. But what will happen is that eventually people will pay off the lot, right? They will also, like we got this week, come to you and say, how much do I still have to pay? I wanted to pay it off. That will happen. Well, that's fantastic. You get the money, but that monthly income just decreased a little bit because they either stopped paying, they paid off, or things like that. So you need to keep the flow going. So for you to have success in real estate, you're always working on acquiring more properties and selling properties. That's how, look, we could do a viral dance here. Look, I buy properties, I sell properties. I buy properties, I sell properties. Never stop. But you don't want to spend the whole day doing that. That's why automation comes in place, because that will allow you to structure and scale that. So you already heard, Nash, that most businesses, they close before 5 years, right? It's a huge rate. It's like 90% of the business. Do you know why they close? Because I know you are going to say, because they don't have money, they run out of money. Is that usually the reason? No.
It's hard.
It's it is hard. Having a business is not easy. Well, they usually get so busy doing things, they forget they need the structure and the process. Especially ADD entrepreneurs like me. We don't like to think about that. We don't like to worry about that, right? So we don't put those things in places, and then everything comes, and because we thought it was boring, we end up losing the business, and that's not fun, right? But today you have AI, and you have softwares, and you can structure a thing like no other. And you're not going to be spending much money. You're not going to have a big team. You're always going to have some people to help you, but not a big one. And you're going to be improving the communication you have with clients, with leads that you have. Leads is a big topic. We could do a webinar only on that, because it's usually when we get lost. How do I get the leads to sell this? And investors, of course, because it doesn't matter how much money you have now. It really doesn't matter. You will need to partner with people in order to keep acquiring those properties. And I know when you're starting out, and I was like that, and all I can say is I lost 2 years of my life thinking the wrong way. I'm not going to work with other people's money. I don't want the risk. What if it doesn't work? And I had a lot of fear about that. And the only thing that did to me is keep me behind for 2 years. He held me back big time. And I don't know why. I was talking to a person one day, and he said, but it's an investment. Investors know there are risks involved. Well, in our business, the risks are really, really low, especially if you're buying land. What can happen wrong? Well, if you don't do your research right, you may buy a lot that people cannot build there. But like I said, you cannot build, but maybe you can put a billboard. Or, for example, I don't remember the name anymore, but there's an Airbnb for dogs, dog parks, right? And all you do is put a fence, maybe you put some toys, and people pay for the hour just to let their dogs roam free. In a city, with sometimes, for example, I've been to Vegas and Arizona, you don't see grass, you don't see a lot of stuff. You may want to have a place like that, and you get per hour. It's just like an Airbnb for a dog park. There are many ways, like I told you. So even then, you will talk to your investor and say, okay, this one is going to be a tough one to sell. What if we do this? What if we do that? And like I said, there are many, many reasons. And there are reasons for you to scale this super fast if you invest in money into buying a lot of lands. One of the things we've been planning on doing is having some mobile parks or just some lots where we put a mobile home that we can rent or we can sell. So, it never stops. As you grow in the business, more things are available for you to do. But you also can improve the communication with the clients that you have and all those leads. Though, is it available people? You can keep talking to them. Consistency is really the key to success. Mm-hmm. Doing things over and over the same way is what makes you successful. Let's look at McDonald's after, 50 years or more?
More, I think.
And still one of the companies that make the most amount of money. Consistency, because they have systems for everything. Everything happens the same way. We had a big studio for 9 years, and we created systems and redundancy for every single thing, correct?
Yeah, so systems, because if you do something more than once, you need to have a system in place for that. And don't think, oh, I'm too small, I'm just starting out, or anything like that, because start from the get-go and you'll be on the right track. And redundancy, because things go wrong. So what's the plan B in case something goes wrong? What can you put into place as a result of that going wrong to actually keep the train moving along? So so always have something in place. Like I have an example, for example, with an Airbnb. This is completely off topic, but we had an Airbnb and we had the little keypad where they would punch in the code to get in. Well, we always think, okay, what's the redundancy? Well, let's say batteries die. Let's say something happens, keypad isn't working. What is the plan B to get that person inside this house should they need to? So then we have a key. It can be as simple as having a key hidden somewhere that you can tell them, and this way they can enter with a key. So always have a plan B. Always have a redundancy plan in case something fails. You have something that can take over.
Exactly, because with our Airbnbs, we still have one in Brazil, but we had 4 or 5 here in the US. You don't want to be traveling 4 hours, which was the distance we had, to solve the problem with a key, right? Something that can be solved by thinking, how do I create redundancy here and the consistency of everything that I'm doing, be land, be whatever.
Following that train of thought, not necessarily with something going wrong, but the same thing with a plot of land. Okay, so you have that plot and you have a plan to sell it, but what is the plan B and the plan C in case you don't sell with the plan A, right? Always think.
Yeah, always keep thinking.
What else can I do?
Now, I said at the beginning that the follow-up is really what, put the businesses down, because they don't keep the right communication going. Because you might be thinking, oh, you're going to tell me how to write emails. No, I'm not. I could, but I'm not. Because the style that you write also matters. But the factor is that people need to understand they are not invisible to you. If you ignore people, you said you're going to call somebody and you forgot about it, or you didn't write for 3 weeks or whatever, they feel like they are invisible. And that is a terrible feeling to have. And that's where you lose them. I always talk to Nashla about where are the points of frustration that we are causing to our clients. And sometimes it's just as simple as not answering the phone, right? Which is very possible to happen during the day. So how can I keep that communication going? And that is really where a software can help you a lot. Why? Because it can do the part that you won't be able to do, because you're strategizing, you're doing the other things to scale your business. And the potential for money is humongous. So Nash, you're going to show us something now that will show the potential of being consistent with our message can do for a business, right?
Yes, I can do that. By the way, Shahar,
yeah.
got a comment from Greg. Greg said, hi, Nash and Shahar. Love to learn from you both. Hey, Greg. Yeah, Shahar, so I can definitely hop on the computer here and show. But you help me.
I will. Let's say this. You show. Well, the people from TikTok you won't be able to see the computer because we are not that tech savvy, but you will be able to hear what she's saying and you will see the numbers.
Yes. All right, Shahar. So first off, actually, you guide me. Tell me what do you want me to? So
you have a chart there that tells you about the potential of the communication, correct?
Yes. So here's this is Prop Talkie on the inside, and actually it's my live account with
what's really happening.
What's really happening. So
tricky, because now they're going to see if you make money selling land or not.
Yeah, it is tricky. All right, so check it out. Just a quick overview of the dashboard here. I like this because it charts it for me. So it's telling me that I have 7 open leads right now. And it equals about $40,000 worth. So sometimes you're like, oh, I don't want to make that phone call, or oh, I'll deal with them later. But really, it's just 7 people can mean $40,000.
Yeah.
That puts it in perspective real quick.
And you might have forgotten who they are because you were traveling last week and stuff like that. So the system will not allow you to do that.
So we have different stages of, we broke down the process into different stages. And
so tell me about those stages.
Telling you about the stages. First off, raise the hand. They raise their hand, they show they're interested.
Is it available?
Is it available? Okay, great. Now you talk to them, you get their email, especially on these is it available. As quickly as possible, you want to capture their data. Because if you're marketing on Facebook, for example, you want to grab their name and their phone number as soon as you can, because you can't control Facebook, right? If Facebook decides tomorrow that, oh, hey, we don't like you, they can shut down your account, and now you've lost that conversation. So as quickly as possible, get their name, get their email. And how do you do that? You have to be creative. So in some ways, for example, when I answer some questions that they have, but I'll be, hey, do you have an email? I can send you the information, all the info I have on the property in your email, including photos, etc. Usually they give it. Sometimes they don't, but usually they give it. Now you have their email. And then you can follow up with, by the way, do you have, what's your phone number? I can send you the PIN location of the address to your phone. And so then they're like, oh, yeah, okay, great. So now I've captured both of their name and their email. I have their name, their phone, and their email that I can market with to them for. So very powerful that way. And so then, okay, so now they've raised their hands. Now we've sent them an email. The conversation has started. Then what do? We follow up. We follow up once. We follow up twice. We follow up 3 times. It can be, you can determine the frequency at which you do this. It can be every day. It can be every other day. You decide. Right now, I believe I have it for me as every other day. Assuming that in these 4 touch points, because we had the first initial touch point and then the 3 follow-ups, we're assuming that by then we're already at the offer negotiation stage. And then from there, we sign a contract. And it can either be a payment plan or it can be a closed deal. They pay up front. Or it can be a bad fit, right? Sometimes it's a bad fit. But in any case, those are the different stages that we've divided it into. So now you're like, well, Nash, you're talking about, okay, sending in follow-up 1, follow-up 2, follow-up 3, but how do you keep track? Because, okay, Juanita got in touch with me and I sent her follow-up 1, and then Mark got in touch with me, but that was a few days ago, so I've sent him already 2 follow-ups. Like, how do you keep track? Which stage are you with each person and how many there are? Because, hey, you said we got to sell 20. To sell 20, we need to probably reach out to, 200 people, 10% of that at least. So it's a lot of people to keep track. And though simple, it can be extremely overwhelming.
So, for example, if you had a software, a normal CRM, and you would put the message in an autoresponder, like the old-fashioned way, that would happen. You would not know where they are in the game with you, because all it does is shoot the messages, right?
Yeah, and then, sometimes people check their emails. You told them you're going to send an email, and so they're going to check it, they're going to see it, but they don't necessarily check every day. But they do check their phones, right? And so now if we can message them on the phone as well, that's a different thing, because now we're connecting them in 2 different locations.
Exactly.
So that also adds a little to the process.
Because everybody has the phone there, and now they are used to receive messages. A few years ago, that was an issue in business, but now no, you get messages all day long from different companies.
Yes. So over here, just to show you, within Prop Talkie, we have what we call the Conversations tab. And here, everything, it unifies from all the different places. It's one inbox for you as a business to check. Because if someone calls you, for example, this person called me here at 6 a.m., I missed this call, but they called me and the system tracks it. So now I know I got to reach out to this person because they were clearly interested. Because the only way they got this was they either saw an ad or a sign on one of my lots where they got this number. And so I know here I have a prospect that I can reach out to. But if I get an email, it'll also come here. If I get a text message, it'll come here. This one right here, for example, look what we have. We missed the call, but the system is programmed to say, hi there, I noticed I missed your call. How can I help you? And who do I have the pleasure of chatting with? Because remember, you're in that process of collecting data. And so they're going to give you, you're trying to get their name, you're trying to get their email, you're trying to get their phone. I have their phone, now I need their name. And so you ask, and they usually respond. But the beauty is sometimes they'll say, because we ask what it's about, and AI did this, I did, even though to them it looks like I did it, the software did it, right? AI did it. but then they tell you, oh, I'm interested on 123 Elmo Street. So now when you call them, you already know what they want. The sale becomes a little bit easier because you can pull up the Elmo Street property information ahead of time, and you're on point making that sale. So, and if you get a message from Facebook, it comes up over here in this inbox. If you get it from
so I don't have to go there.
Correct.
Huh.
YouTube, TikTok, it all pulls in here. So I have one inbox to check, and I will get my phone,
So
text,
emails,
socials.
texts, socials, everything comes to one place.
Exactly.
Exactly. And now think about this, because the AI will ask the question, what more they want to know, why they want the land for. We might get to the real reason they're buying, because it is not to invest. It is not. They always have an emotional reason, and that is what you need to understand when you're talking to them on the phone. It makes a huge difference. If you know what they want to do with that on an emotional level, because that's really where we sell, right? It's not the basics. We tend to answer a phone and, oh, so how much? They are always going to ask, what's the price? What's the price, right? And that is really just for them to know the ballpark and to have a way out. So you need to lead with questions every single time you're on the phone, correct?
Absolutely.
Because you want for them to know, you want to know what's the real reason. And sometimes we found out, for example, we have a client in, I think it's Mississippi, that he already bought 3 or 4 lots from us, right? And why? Because when we were selling the first one, he was really worried it was a scam, because we are not there, and things like, we are women, we are not there, everything, nothing working on our favor. So he was really scared about that. And we mentioned that he could be an affiliate. We use other words for that, but he works in a factory, so think about how many lots I could sell to his friends. But he wanted to get the first deed first to be able to prove them it was real, and he was going to pay that for a year or so. But talking to him, we found out that it's common in that area that the whole family live really, really nearby. They like to live on the same street as possible. So there you go. Every time we start looking for lots in that area specifically, and I think we sold 2 or 3, right? No, we sold more than 3 for him. And then he called, and there is a specific one that he wants, and he called us and said, "Can you get that for me?" I said, "Sure, I can." And we are in the process of doing that. And now he can become my affiliate because he has paid off, I think, 1 or 2 of them, and he can show the people that work with him. So it's important to understand the real why they are buying, and it's never what they are saying. It's all in the subtext in their mind. So you need to be able to lead with questions. Okay, so
Can I show you one thing real quick?
of course you can. That's why we are here for.
So awesome. So what I love, one of the things that I love is, so now that this person has contacted you, they're in your system. You have what's like a contact card. You have this person here and everything that you've interacted with them. But so in the system, you can keep your notes of the conversation with this person, right? Everything will be here. Also, any tasks that you might have. But really, what I wanted to show you is this. So they reached out to you. So here's the whole conversation, right? You can always go back. But what I want, you know how I said that you ask for their email and then you send them information without the property information to get them from Facebook, for example? So just wanted to show you, I'm trying to open here. So look, they wanted to have information on this one specific property. The system sent them this message that has all of the property, all of the property information all at once, including the photos. So it's not like I had to do it manually for each person that was interested. The system did it. And so we're talking about the system automating the process, making it easier.
Taking the workload out of your shoulder.
Taking the workload out of your shoulder. So use tools that will allow you to do that.
Because I know what some people are saying, that, I don't need a software, I can do that myself. Everybody knows that sending letters to the neighbor is what sells, right? Which is true, by the way. But the thing is, if you have 10 lots and you're sending, you want to personalize. Because if you don't call them, if you don't call by the name, if you don't personalize, they don't know which lot you're talking about. They already don't know when they call you, right? So you have to be specific and talk about their pains in that area. If you do that with a letter, remember, we used to do that. We've been there. The time you're putting those things in the envelopes, it's
Yeah.
a nightmare. You have to match what you wrote there. Yes, you can customize the fields on Excel sheets. I know that. But then you're putting on the envelopes, and you have to match each one. Then you have to have somebody putting the stamps, because if they don't go to stamp with stamps, they will actually have less return than having stamps, believe it or not. Same thing if you write with your hand on the envelope or a font that looks like your handwriting, you're going to have a bigger response. It goes from the C
The
pile
pile.
to the A pile, because that's how you do. You get all your mail and you do this and you do that. The C pile you put here to throw in the trash. The B pile, maybe I'll look when I get home. And the A pile you open right away. So little things matter. And when you're doing that by hand, it gets really annoying and eats a lot of time. But you're saying, but I have machines to do that. Well, if you scale your business, that makes sense. If you're selling 10 or 20, it does not make sense to invest in that at all. So you need another way. Now, since we are talking we talked about messages, and I know a lot of people, I don't use email anymore. We don't get stuff in the mail that we care about very often, right? Because it's your birthday and everybody will say happy birthday on the social media, and that's about it, right? They don't send you a card, they don't send you anything. And we know that physical, it's always going to beat online because it does. Remember I told you about the person feeling invisible? Well, it's a different thing if they get something from you. Now, there are very many stages, but let's just think about the letters that you have to send to the neighbors, because your chance of selling that lot is a lot higher. You can send letters or you can send postcards. The only difference there is really the price point. The letter is going to cost more for you to ship. How much is the stamp for that? Do you know?
It's like 68 cents.
68 cents, and the postcard 40 something.
Oh no, the postcard 68.
Oh, and the letter is a little bit more than that.
A little bit more than
Well,
that.
so that's the main difference, and you have to buy an envelope as well. Well, we did letters for a very long time. Now we do postcards. We can do letters if we want with the system, but look at this. I'm going to show this first because I know the TikTok won't be able to see the screen. We start with, hey, this one came for me because
we were testing it, so
yeah.
we added ourselves.
And you don't have to like the design. The design can be whatever strikes your fancy. We wanted just to go to the point. But it starts with, hey, Shahar. Who is Shahar? I am Shahar. See how cool? The moment the guy grabs this he's going, hey, Tom, hey, Jill, hey, Mary, hey, Valentina. And say, oh, it's for me. Everything is written as if it was handwritten. Believe it or not, some people will think somebody really wrote all this, right? And then I put emojis or whatever, signs where I want them to pay attention. And it's talking, I'm going to read just the first paragraph to you. Guess what? I've got something special for you. The chance to grab the nearby property before it hits the market. Imagine expanding your space or locking in more land for future plans. So I already told him I haven't put it to sell yet. I'm giving them the first chance to grab it. And then he goes, we talk about privacy, about property value, extra space, protect investment, right? Because they have a house just beside it. So it makes a lot of sense. When you turn, yes, there's a lot of stuff written here because all this, my friend, is real estate. So nothing should be wasted. And I go, there's just this lot for you to grab and blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, I have the phone number. And I have a QR code. If they scan, it's going to go to the page on a site that the system can do for you in seconds as well. Now you want to show that part.
Super neat, super neat on several levels. Of course, design-wise, you can design whatever you want. Remember, though, you don't necessarily go for what's pretty. You go for what grabs attention. You want it to be that A pile. But another thing to point out, Shahar mentioned, it comes with their name, so it's custom, their actual name. Your phone number in the back, there's little things like a little heart, and in the heart, it has the city they're in. So like you heart.
And we mentioned the name of the street
Pine
as well.
Bluff or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
So it personalizes everything. So it's one postcard for that specific person. It's really important to understand that.
QR code, awesome. They scan it, and it'll take wherever you'd like them to go. In this case, it goes to the property that's right next to them. But the neat thing about this is when they scan, you get a notice. So and so, John Doe scanned the QR code.
You know, they hook the bait.
Exactly, because if they scanned, they're intrigued.
Yep.
So now you know that you can reach out to them more. So now this is physical, actual postcard, right? The beauty of this is, you know how we were talking about with online with the system? I actually didn't even show you, but with the system, we talked about the follow-up 1, follow-up 2, follow-up 3. Well, the beauty is, there's two beauties. The beauty of that is you can program it, and the system will take care of it. They'll send email 1, email 2, text 1, email, text 3, whatever. They'll do that. But the really cool thing is you can implement as well, you can incorporate the printed. So now we're reaching out email, text, print, right? Tremendous value in that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're talking about awareness, talking about being top of mind, the more you reach out, the more you touch them, the more you're going to be top of mind.
Exactly. And, okay.
So so you can use this for your existing clients as well, because if you've already sold and you can sell to them again, because once your clients understand that, hey, they own this property, but now it's an investment for them, they can own more, well, you can send them messages, or you can send them postcards, say, for example, after a year after they've purchased, or 6 months after they've purchased, congratulating them, or reaching out to them, whatever. You can send them a postcard on their birthday.
But not only that, what can we get new leads with this? Like, can I hit a street or an area where I have a lot?
Absolutely, because you can say, you can go into a region, say your property is here. You can go into a radius and say, hey, I want to message everyone within that radius. And the system will do that. They'll have their addresses and their names. And so now you can send this mailer that comes personalized to them. One thing that I love is when we have a property that we put into the system, it'll automatically send the postcard to the 5 neighbors around that property.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
beautiful.
In theory, that's super easy to do, right? Oh yeah, I'll just grab their a property comes in, I'll just look at the neighbors online, I'll get their names and addresses, and then we print out this letter that we already made. We just got to change the name and maybe the city and whatever other information. And then we print it, we stuff it, we put it in the envelope, we walk to the post office, and we...
There goes your day.
Yeah, for 5, right? And so, and that's just for the one property. Now think if you're doing the 20 properties, that's a lot of work that might not get done. So having it automated in the system, the moment the property hits the system, boom, it'll already send the 5 to the neighbors. Then you have a few clicks and you can select your radius, and now you can send to everyone in your region.
And you can have whatever design you want and customize what's going to show, the name of the street. Look at that.
I can even show you here. We have some templates that we provide to you already, but when you're inside the system, you can
The system is called PropTalkie at proptalkie.com.
That's right.
Yeah.
You said it so professional there. PropTalkie. But look, you've got your automation templates. Let me just show you some random one. Click here for if you decide what you want to do. And we've provided for various industries. But let's just say here, you're a vet clinic, okay? Just to show you. This right here, look at this. It would send a friendly reminder. It would have their name and their email. It's customized. And then there's the backdrop. And you see where it says merge, 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 merge? This is data that you have in the database for that contact. And so it'll automatically put in their name and automatically put in their email. And so you don't have to worry about it. This was a bad example in the sense that it's not related to real estate. But here, basically, ultimately, what you need to understand is, boom, the moment you have this template and you add the contacts, it automatically sends it to them. So very powerful. And you can have a sequence. So here are some templates that we have, but look at this here. It's a sequence. And so what's really cool, it tells you even what your cost would be. Here in this case, it's like $7 plus postage. and you'll make sure that this person hears from you every month, because you put all these different templates, all these different postcards in here to reach out to them every single month. So if you sell, we're talking about land, but if you sell houses, for example,
Yeah.
it could be the same thing, because you could do a postcard on how to property maintenance, how to do this, how to do that, and you reach out to them consistently every other week or once a month or however you decide.
So there's a huge follow-up at a very low cost, because you'll always be paying for the stamps. But just the fact that he sends to 5 neighbors right away, that alone, because I know how it is. Oh, I need to do this with the land, and then tomorrow I'll do it, and tomorrow I'll send the letters and stuff like that.
Get busy.
So, and again, a great way for you to get new leads as well, right? Because you can always buy lists out there of that region and send a postcard to them as well. But there's another great way to create leads here. And I know a lot of people think, yeah, but how do I find the buyers? And then we come to social media, right? Just today, right now, we are on TikTok, we are on YouTube. You know, you need to create visibility. It doesn't matter if you have one lot, one house, or 10 or 100. It's a great way to bring you new leads. But everybody knows that creating content it takes a lot of time. But that is something you need to do. You need to create the content. But then, Nashla, how can we help them with automation in social media in the same place? Because, of course, I can get softwares out there all day long. People talk about them. But then you have, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 10 of them, and you are paying for all of those things, and that's not fun. So what could we do?
Well, Shahar, within Prop Talkie, you have what's called a social planner. And so what's really cool, like I said, this is my live account. So right now you're not seeing any posts because I don't have any posts there. But what you do is you go new post, create new post, and now you add the title of your post, you add your description, you add your photos, but then you also select where this post is going to. And it can go to all of the different networks that you have. So you connect your YouTube, your TikTok, your Instagram, your Facebook. See, I have them all connected here. And that post will go to all of those different places.
So you don't have to be posting, and then you put the hashtags, and you do everything you have to do ahead of time.
Yes.
And you can pre-schedule too, right?
Exactly. So then you mentioned VAs earlier. Well, if you have a VA that can help you with this, this is actually kind of interesting because, for example, you promote on Facebook. Well, I want my VA to do it. Well, I have someone in the Philippines working, let's say. Now they have to connect to my Facebook account. Facebook doesn't like that. It gets tricky having to share access to your networks to different regions. Well, that's okay. You know what? Prop Talkie will have access to your Prop Talkie account will have access to your Facebook account, your Instagram, etc. Well, your VA can access Prop Talkie, schedule the whole month. They can do the whole month at once. They can schedule all of the posts here, as many posts as you'd like, all in one go within Prop Talkie. And now the system will send out those posts onto your social media for you, and you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, it's really phenomenal. So get ready to post your questions, because we are going to answer them next. But we told them 3 features of many, right, that they could be doing. But, you know, I know you are already thinking about all the ways that you can get started on this and scale your business fast, right? I think so far we have given you very cool ideas of things that you can do to do that. And of course, if it means scaling, it means structuring. There is no way out of that, right? And you can go out and get a lot of softwares that do very good things, or you can get proptalkie.com. You were waiting for the moment that I was going to ask you, right, to take action, but of course I will. Because I talk to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people that do what I do, and I know where the pain points are. We have seen during years what are the pain points, where they fail, when they quit, and we just want to say, no, don't do that, don't quit. There are better ways, and that's why you actually decided, I'm going to build a tool that will really narrow down what they have to do in a structured, consistent, and systematic way. So they don't have to try to figure all that out, because usually it falls through the cracks. You know, all of us, we face challenges in different moments. It can be in the moment of acquiring the property because we are fearful of making a mistake. It can be in the moment where we need to bring leads. What if Facebook is not responding well and I put on Facebook Marketplace and it doesn't? That's a thing. What if there is an election coming and then everything does like, whoa, right? Because everybody say, I'm going to keep my cash with me because I don't know who's coming and what they are going to do once they are in power. So there's the collective fear that makes people slow down in their whatever they're selling or whatever they're buying. How do you overcome that? And usually it is by proper follow-up. There is a huge marketer that always says you have to send, Dan Kennedy, by the way, that says send the bill to your audience, right? Send the bill to your audience, because as long as you have a channel of communication, you can do that, and it will respond. Not only that, they create the rapport and the relationship with you, and there is no money that can cover that. Once they trust you, they rely on you, it is to you that they will come. But it's your job to be top of mind. It's not enough for you to say, but I did a good job, he should be grateful for that, he should be calling me. Why did he call the competitor? Well, why? You're not top of mind. You're not showing when they need, and it's your job to do that. And that is when Prop Talkie comes into place. It's going to be those 10 people that you're not going to have in an office doing the work for you. And then, yes, it frees you time to do whatever you want. Want to take, go to the sea, go to the Bahamas for a vacation, why not? You have the time, and the money is being generated in most of the process because it's doing the follow-up. Yes, you will still have to close the deal, but you know, if things are structured right, it's going to be a piece of cake. Now, you've seen only 3 features of the Prop Talkie, and like I said, there are many more. But this is how we are going, and you can go to proptalkie.com, scroll to the bottom, you're going to see the price. But let me see what else you're going to get here. If you have some properties, of course, it's a platform. You're going to be, oh, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that, it's too complicated, I don't like the color. Well, we'll add the first 5 properties to you. We'll do that, so you can, from the get-go, start seeing return. But of course, you will have an onboarding call with us where we are not only going to analyze exactly what's your plan, where you want to go, what do you already have or what you don't have, and we are going to structure that to work for you. Because it might not be these 3 specific features, you might need different things, and it is in there, so we are going to be able to do that assessment with you and show you how the tool works, of course. Then training videos, yes, there are many, and you can go there and everything. Oh, how do I customize those fields? How do I do that? Where do I click to get the postcards? You have the videos there, so you don't need to talk to us, and we don't need to talk to you. Yeah, and of course, if you go to proptalkie.com and look at the page, you are going to see proptalkie.com. Let me go to the right place. We have 3 plans: the grow, the scale, and the ultimate. The grow is very basic. It's basically focusing on the message part. The scale, you have all the lists here. We have reputation management, in-depth reports, WhatsApp integration, because if you sell to people speaking other languages, you know that everywhere outside the US, they're using WhatsApp all the time. Even in the US, that is growing. So if you want to have that communication, wow, gee, I just saw somebody's slide go, gee, I can use WhatsApp. Yes, you can. It's totally integrated, so you are going to love it. And the ultimate is the one that you have a little bit more of us here, and you have the web chat widget that is AI that can talk to them a lot.
The main thing about between the scale and the ultimate is that the ultimate allows you to do integrate the offline stuff.
The offline stuff,
yes,
great. So the postcard is in this ultimate. If you sell in different languages, so we have prepared messages in English from, you know, remember National was talking about stage 1, 2, 3, 4. There's some pre-made messages there that we know they work because we use it, but you can add your own, but you have that pre-made. On the ultimate, in case you sell to people that speak Portuguese, you also can have that. And of course you can add in Spanish as well, if I'm not wrong, right? So with this too, you're also, if you choose for scale or ultimate, you're going to get the Secret Agents Property Intel Journal. top secret feature. And what is it? Well, when you visit the properties, because I know how it is, you write everywhere you find, right? Because you never have a pen. What's a pen? Do you remember how a pen looks like? And then you start writing everywhere because people will come talk to you. So you have here, if you need to do some work on the property, if it's a house, what you would have to do, how is it? Let's say master bedroom is good, average, or poor. What's the state that is in? There are some states like Pennsylvania where you can go inside the house before you bid on a house. So you might want room design, expenses. The expenses, this is so important, especially if you're working with investors. You need to have everything down on what you're going to, what it costs you to go to that place. In case you go, you don't have to go. You can do everything online. So it has a lot of features like expenses, mileage tracking, and I just saw a fitness calendar. I think here you have to keep fit when you're traveling as well. Anyway, you're getting this in the mail if you get the scale and the ultimate. Whatever is your decision. And now we are ready for questions. So write those questions. If there are no questions, I'll go have lunch. You know you need this. It's a simple thing. It makes your life easier. It frees you time. It avoids having to hire more people than you need because managing people is really not easy. So if you find somebody, keep it. But the scaling the team can be a huge headache, and it might not be what you're looking for anyway. It's good to have a couple, 2, 3, super manageable. But other than that, the system can do for you really what 10 people, you would have to hire 10 people to do this, right? Just the social media part that we just brush over it, scheduling and stuff. You know, how many people have to pay a VA just to do that? Because you're creating content, you need those things to go in a timely manner, right? And you need to track and see if they're working, or else you say, do you have a way to see on TikTok if there's anything? Because my glasses cannot see for the life of me. Let's do this. If you have any questions and I don't answer now, you can write to Shahar, it's my name, Shahar, @proptalkie.com, and I'll be happy to answer. Can be anything, even if you're starting out, you just bought one piece of land, you know, I'll be happy to. I'm not going to teach you how to find properties. I can tell you what are the veins where you can find properties, but I can teach you how to scale your business so you can retire in 6 months. I think that proposition to me sounds like gold, right? Because I know all I have to do is have 20 lots at 500 or 30 at 300. I don't know. You do the math yourself. But it's doable, especially because you can get property so cheap out there. Why not do it? And then you just keep that system going, automated, without headaches, and you focus on scaling that. Focus on the other things that you can do. You know, again, there's so many possibilities today. With the Gen Zers, there is a huge trend for the alternative living, the modular homes like boxable, zip kit homes, and others. People are looking for land because that's the difficult part for them, to find a place where they can put those. Well, you already know how to find land. Why not do that? You know, and then sell to them, or even buy yourself. There are some foldable homes. There are 16,000. Actually, from China, you can buy some for 1,000. I saw the other day. I received a catalog. But the nice one, you can buy for 16,000 a unit, and you are going to resell that. There are so many possibilities. We could be talking forever here. So again, proptalkie.com is where you choose the plan. We will add the first 5 properties for you. We will do an onboarding to see exactly what you are and which features do you need, and we'll provide the training videos. And if you choose the scale or the ultimate, you also get the manual for you for when you are going out. So you're looking at properties, so you're writing down and you keep everything in one place. But the most important thing is this is your door to early retirement, to make that money without having to hustle all the time. I know there are many side gigs out there, side hustles out there, but they all take a lot of work. This is something we are really passionate about, right? We really like because we think it's fun. It's fun to do it. The buying part is very fun. The selling part It's fun too. Many people have a huge barrier with selling.
It has this business has a lot of moving pieces.
Yes.
And it can get overwhelming quick. But with the proper tools, the proper guidance, it's actually quite manageable and quite fun and enjoyable.
Exactly.
And profitable.
Yeah. So, you know, the one thing that can keep you from achieving all this is not money, it's not how much it costs, it's fear. Fear can stop you on your tracks, or the disbelief that you cannot achieve whatever is the goal that you want for your retirement, whatever is the number that you want for your retirement. So don't let fear take over. Take action, one step every day, and you will get there. One property, even if it's every month that you buy, you will get there. You know, give yourself enough time according to your fear process. You may need 2 years to do this. That's fine. One property every 2 months, and you will be there, right? And again, take action. I promise next time we will figure out how to read the TikTok part. We had to put that far away so we could both be on camera.
But I don't think there are any questions.
Okay, and so again, proptalkie.com is the place for you to go, and it's the place where you're going to see scaling and early retirement happen really, really fast. Thank you so much for being here with us, and I hope to see you next time.
See ya.
Let me go there.